com as Forças Armadas. Tal confronto, além de desnecessário, só poderá conduzir a sérios prejuízos individuais que enlutariam e criariam divisões entre os portugueses, o que há que evitar a todo custo. Não obstante a expressa preocupação de não fazer correr a mínima gota de sangue de qualquer português, apelamos para o espírito cívico e profissional da classe médica, esperando a sua ocorrência aos hospitais, a fim de prestar a sua eventual colaboração que deseja sinceramente desnecessária.
Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you GuMPers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast on the 26th of April, 2024, a day after the 50th anniversary celebrations of the Carnation Revolution. And at the beginning of the show there, you heard the announcement that was made on the radio on RTP years ago, of course, 50 years ago, at 4:27 in the morning, announcing that there was to be a change here in Portugal. I really love that. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Who was that over at the Portugal Club? I think that was Tom Smith. Thank you for that, Tom, who also gave us a guide to the Carnation Revolution as made by Portuguese Children's TV, which is actually quite good for entry-level Portuguese speakers, like many of us here. So how was your day yesterday? I've got so much, you'd think, wouldn't you, on the 26th? Okay, we've had the holiday, we've had the remembrance. That's it now. But no, I don't feel like that at all with this momentous event of the of yesterday. And I sent a message out to the Portuguese boot camp that I'm currently beta testing. And these are some of the posters, actually. These from Braga that were sent in the last couple of days. Thank you, everybody who sent lots of wonderful images and videos on 913-590-303. And yeah, thank you so much. I've just distracted myself. I can't remember what I was going to say. Suffice to say that, yes, we may have thought that this holiday, this celebration would be behind us now, literally in time. We've had the day of celebration. But, yes, I remember what I was saying. I sent a message out to the boot campers this morning, the Portuguese language and culture. Little daily baby steps to learn more about their language and the culture. I think it's going pretty well, actually. And when you're beta testing something, you find out what people actually think compared to what you thought they might think, or what you might have imagined they would find useful. And I think people are enjoying just a daily little push to speak a little bit more Portuguese or to learn a little bit more about the culture. And my question this morning was, how was your day here in Portugal yesterday? How was your Carnation Revolution day? Mine was espumante, as in fizzy, because that's how I celebrated. But that was only part of it. Here's me with my bottle of fizz that I opened up towards the end of the webinar last night. Great job, Peter von Noonan, by the way. Look at that. In the studio, being in the studio there this morning. But that's me with my Intermarché, no expense spared yesterday, a $4.99 bottle of fizz. And the thing about that is I'm not being a cheapskate. It was just so good at $4.99. One of the many benefits, perhaps, of post-revolution Portugal and the great traditions of Portugal there is the underrated, under-celebrated, in my view, although I'm doing my best to celebrate with as much espumante as I possibly can, which is, within the realms of medical safety. But that's how I celebrated, or that's my overwhelming hashtag from yesterday, espumante, fizzy. And it had been the culmination of 2 days of partying, really. We ended up yesterday at the Obidos Lagoon, celebrating our freedom to do amazing things in this wonderful country. There we are. We had a little supercar rally. That's mine on the right, the big one, that was very kindly loaned to us for the day by Rui at Toyota in Caldas Terrenia. 2 Toyota Yaris's and a Porsche Cayman. Of course, we're tracking the road trip of Coach Turner, who's in this morning. What a lovely day that was. I think Coach Turner's got a little bit of feedback about that. But how lovely to live in a world, in a society where we're free to indulge ourselves in such a way. And my goodness, there was another lunchtime indulgence yesterday. Shout out to Musaraños, the wonderful cafe on that lagoon there. A great lunch. I've been there before, but not had lunch. And I had lunch yesterday. It was fantastic. The porco all'antejano, the seafood salad, and the pasta all were great. Thoroughly recommend that place and that location. And we filmed conversations with the car owners, and we had a great time. Thanks to Colin for organising that. And that had been preceded the day before by dinner at the Nasa de Sol in Salida de Porto and the Storytellers Lunch on Wednesday. So, I mean, gratitude, as well as fears, gratitude that we live in, and we are so blessed to live in such a great country, in a great society, and to be able to do these wonderful things. So that's been on my mind. And judging by what's come in, people have been very touched and moved by the Carnation Revolution sentiment, the vibe, the spirit of it. And what was really noticed, I've got all sorts of thoughts swirling around in my head about this. Not least a possible coup over at the Portugal club, having invited the Doc to join us at GMP VIP. He's weighed in with some of his political analysis about the revolution. Welcome over there, Doc. And I think it was accusing me of being a little unbalanced. That's rich. Got all of there's my new shipment of Yorkshire tea in the background there as well. I was going to call it contraband. Perfectly legal being brought into Portugal. Thanks, Coach Turner, for those couple of packets of Yorkshire tea there. Yeah, so the Doc accusing me perhaps of being a little unbalanced with some of my reporting at the Portugal club. But he's there addressing. He said, how about some more balance? And I said, well, you're here. It's you. You are the balanced Doc. And now I'm fearing that there might be a coup over there at the Portugal club. But yeah, so many things going on in my mind about this. One of them is that, well, I said yesterday, you know, when you talk to people here, people of different ages in Portugal respond differently to the Portuguese Carnation Revolution. And it would seem that there is a sandwich going on. One piece of the bread are the older folks of Portugal who may remember it more vividly than some of the youngers, who just have it as a holiday. And, you know, I'm not knocking that. Fair enough. That's how it is, isn't it? That's how the 4th of July is, I guess, for people. People celebrate national events in different ways and have different attachments to them. But it would seem the other piece of bread is us foreigners. It's really touched many people here in our community. The idea of the Carnation Revolution, the red carnation inside the barrel of a gun, you know, the emblem of the revolution, the fact that it was a peaceful one. And I'll be sharing some of the words of the president as well, who was reflecting, of course, yesterday on it too. But isn't it interesting how us foreigners and the elders of Portugal seem to be perhaps among the most interested in the significance of the event, rather than just having a day off. Good morning from Nuno. He's here. It seems that today is still holidaying, or already the weekend. The streets are empty. We kind of knew that was going to happen, right, Nuno? Portuguese people who knew they were going to have a Thursday off booked the Friday as well, and the wheels of industry, bureaucracy will turn again. I'm going to say Monday, but I'm going to say safely, on the safe side, let's say Monday afternoon, shall we? Thank you for being here, Nuno. So it's quiet. That's the report from Lisbon. Very quiet. After some really busy activity on the streets of Lisbon, been sent all sorts of pictures, and I'll try and include as many as I possibly can. We'll go back to Amy. Amy sent wonderful pictures. Sarah Yerman also. Thank you, Amy and Greg. And Starbuck as well. Thank you. Amy, can you settle something for me once and for all? Starbuck or Starbucks? Forgive me. I know him well, but and it's one of these names where you think, have I got that right? And the more you think about it, the more worried you become. Starbuck or Starbucks? You'll be seeing Starbuck or Starbucks with a wonderful, I think he was politicized in Lisbon yesterday. But this picture came from Sarah Davey, whose auntie had arrived in Portugal to see tanks on the streets. Starbuck, thank you very much for that. I don't know why I went off on what is it, Starbucks, but Starbuck, good morning to you. Starbuck, come on. I wonder if he's responding to that. And yeah, Sarah's auntie would have been greeted by tanks on the streets here, sent pics home to Sarah, of course, who's moving here. What an amazing sight. And there was, I think, a sort of reenactment going on in certain parts of Lisbon. And we've got many more photographs to come from Amy and from Sarah as well. And I'm quickly getting rid of pictures on here because we've got so many. I've got pictures that have come in and things that need to be squeezed in. So as I'm showing you, I'm also deleting and making room for more pictures to be shared with you this morning. Keep them coming. If you haven't shared any and you want to, 913-590-303. There's Bill and Marcus with their tribute. Feliz Dia de Liberdade, 50 años. That was from yesterday. Didn't have time to squeeze that in, but thank you very much, gents, for that picture too. How lovely. We have in from Pam as well. Look, this is from Lumen. This is a wonderful, huge marionette, larger than life size marionette show that Pam was involved in. And this was after the show, I believe. So thank you for that, Pam. Looks like that went very well. Kai went there. I think one of my neighbors here in San Martino de Porto got very excited about all the things that were going on here in Portugal and ended up being in Alcobaça, I think, last night. It was Kai, of course, who generated the AI image, one of 10 that you can find on the Portugal Club. That's what got the doc interested. And there is certainly a vibe, a feel to those pictures that are somewhat Leninist, I think. Some of them anyway that Kai generated using AI. They're over at the Portugal Club at the moment. So thank you very much for generating those and all of your other information, Kai, as well. Did you have a good time in Alcobaça with Pam and the puppeteers? Oh, we've got to Colleen Showalter. I'm sure she'll have something to share with us as well. We've got, yes, her dog, whose name I was close with Starbucks, but I forget the name of Colleen's huge dog, who's quite a character in Alcobaça. We've got her joining us, and we've got a lovely picture of her dog with a carnation in his mouth. I wonder if he stopped short of actually consuming red carnations. I think carnations are edible, aren't they? I don't think if we ever got to the bottom of that question. But yeah, so many lovely posters as well. If you're a collector of posters, I think Portugal's a wonderful place for collecting posters or having framed posters in the house. There are so many events going on here that are immortalized with these beautiful posters and images. So lots to go at. So from that point of view, we've got a mindful and dad joke means to come from James, of course, and so many comments to get to as well. There's James back in 1974. That was James, in case you weren't aware of that. I think somebody guessed that correctly. And a couple of others that were yet to be guessed. There's T-Duck around 1974 as well. Oh, and Bob around 1974 too. I think looking probably a little bit more mature from maybe the prom book or something like that, all dressed up like a grown-up in 1974. Thank you very much for the pictures that you've sent in. Those of you who did so, pictures of you from 1974. That was a lovely idea. I think this is in the village, or either in the village of or nearby. We played the video yesterday, didn't we, of Pam and John's village, or certainly in the locality, and the singing that went on there. We've got more singing from Philomena. Philomena's been up in Chaves. Other tributes coming in, including this one. Thank you, Gavin, who posted this picture of an ex-beer in the south, in the Algarve. I think a toast there, and beautifully captured photographs. So thank you, Gavin, for that as well. Absolutely wonderful. So many pictures, and of course I'll put a few of these up at the end of the week. I like to bring together all the pictures that have been shared with us as a collection over at the Portugal Club as well. More beer. I think that was from Wednesday. That was possibly coach. Oh, there's the coach's foot. He's relaxing and enjoying the bay in San Martino de Porto. So a beer tribute there. Send pictures of beer to 913-590-303 as well, of course. Let's have a look at a bit of video, shall we? We played you that incredible piece of radio history as the MFA took over the RTP radio studio. Let's have a look up at Chaves, where Philomena's been, and of course the iconic song of that time. So Pam knows the words. We were singing that in Chat Club on Tuesday. Grandola Villa Morena, the iconic song, of course, that triggered the activity, the revolutionary activity. It was a sign, the green light for go when that was played. What a great idea to take over the radio station and then play the tune to let everybody know what was happening. And of course, that changed Zeca Afonso's career completely as well. And a reinterpretation of his classic song that is completely intertwined with the whole history story of the Carnation Revolution. Apparently, carnations are edible. Thank you for answering that, Owen. I've got some catching up to do with pictures from you. We've got cats asleep in shop windows, which we didn't get around to showing from maybe a week ago, I think. Flower petals are edible of the carnation, Latin name Dianthus caryophyllus. Sweet with a mild flavor of nutmeg and clove. We missed out on that opportunity, didn't we? Some people describe the taste as peppery and slightly tangy. Carnation stems are inedible. So in case you're thinking, I don't know, would it be a little bit sacrilegious to eat them? But maybe a few shredded red carnation flowers, petals on a salad would look beautiful, perhaps as well. I love that in Portugal there are songs that if someone starts singing, everyone joins in. Isn't that fantastic? And that beer is having a climatic moment. Yes, and did you notice in the clip there of the video, you're never far from some Superboc or Sagres. He was performing next to a beer chiller. I've got a cat asleep on me. I'm still in bed, Pam. Well, you deserve a little bit of a lie-in this morning. Great work in Alcobaça, and look at you involved in the cultural celebrations. Come over as a foreigner and have really made yourself a part of the community over there. I think it's admirable. So congratulations, parabéns to you. Liz F, hello, good morning. Yes, apparently carnation flowers are edible. I saw that Campagna Portuguesa do Chá has a carnation tea. What a lovely idea. Be careful. Yes, the weather's changed, hasn't it? So good weather yesterday, I think, for the celebrations, but the temperatures dropped. It's turtleneck weather again, everybody. And it really is looking distinctly chilly outside. I mean, it's all relative, of course, but just colder than it has been for the last few days. Those signs of summer receding somewhat. Be careful this weekend. Rain, what? Antonio, no, rain, wind, and snow. And we'll carry on this wonderful conversation, reflection of the Carnation Revolution. I know it was yesterday, but there's so much to be said and so much to be shared. Let's go back to this morning's comments starting at 7:48. Bom dia, GuMPers. Feliz sexta a todos. Como tem passado? Mindful moment then from James. Looking at beauty in the world is the first step of purifying the mind. Isn't that nice? Wonderful from Amit Ray there. So yes, see what you can find that floats your boat, that swells your heart with admiration. Might be the person next to you, of course. Give them a kiss. Mindful dad joke. The doctor said I have high nitrates, so I'm switching to day rates. Hey, thank you very much. And your visuals this morning. Let's have a look at those before we forget. Colleen Showalter from Portugal, the place, joining us. She's been up to Braga. We've got Philomena in Chaves with a lovely introduction to Chaves. Really northerly. It's not the most northerly part of Portugal, but pretty much getting up that way. Oh, very quickly, before we go to James's visual submissions and his attempts to fill the tea duct vacuum, this picture, of course, as well, that inspired Owen's poem as well recently that we read out on the show. Thank you very much for that, Owen. And yes, something else that got overlooked until recently. No, not the ukulele gem. We'll come back to that. But somebody, look, let me just take the comment off the screen for a minute. And you'll see somebody washing their is that clothing? It looks like blankets to me. But you'll see the old outdoor laundry facilities around Portugal, certainly in rural parts of Portugal, and somebody washing in the traditional way there up in the north. I think, not sure if that was captured by John or by Owen, but isn't that a fabulous picture? And everything drying in the sun there. It looks like that might not be possible with snow and rain forecast for this weekend, but absolutely love those. And please, if you send me anything and you think I've forgotten to show it, or you didn't see it on the screen yourself, very happy to be prompted and reminded, because these images are just so powerful and so beautiful. And thank you so much, everybody who makes this show what it is with submissions and contributions of that kind. Thank you so much. Good job last night, by the way, just very quickly, Peter, on understanding the real estate buying process. That was a great conversation. And if you're in that position of buying a home here in Portugal, Peter and Alice from the Portugal Company, went step by step with that last night, and that'll be released on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel on Sunday. So to James's memery, I'm taking steps to overcome my hiking addiction. How's it going? A little bit low res this one, but don't worry, I'll read it out for you. I've got to take the banner off the screen for this one. I'm not out of the woods yet. Oh dear. Thank you very much for that. And your other this morning, apparently it's only appropriate to say, look at you, you got so big, to children. Adults tend to get offended. Try it today. See how you get on, and let us know on 913-590-303. Let's put that banner back on. To announce the fact, or to ask you, how your Carnation Revolution celebrations went. We'll talk more after Colleen goes off to, no doubt, another busy day in Alcobaça. She's joining us to have a chat about Braga and what's going on for her in Portugal, the place at the moment. And so we'll talk more after she's been and gone. We'll talk to her about Braga, and as a thank you on there as well. So thank you very much, as I said, for everybody who makes this show what it is with your contributions and your submissions. But there's a nice big capital letter thank you today, this morning. Thanks to our supporters, our sponsors, and the GuMPers who make this possible, basically. So thank you very much. Who doesn't love you first thing in the morning? I know I do. So thank you very much. In any way that you contribute, I mean, there are so many different ways in which people do contribute to make the Good Morning Portugal show what it is. And I know I don't say thank you enough, because I could spend the whole 90 minutes every morning thanking people for making this show what it is. And it's striking a balance, isn't it? And I know I don't do it enough. So let me just take this opportunity on this lull between the Carnation Revolution celebrations and when things get back to normal. If we ever get back to normal, that is, it's all relative, isn't it, on Monday? But thank you so much. There just does seem to be a bit of a Feelgood Friday, easygoing vibe this morning, in which I really would like to thank you from the heart of my bottom. bottom of my heart, I mean. Right, Coach Turner. Bom dia todos e feliz sexta-feira. Putting the sex into sexta-feira, Coach Turner. What a great day yesterday. Thanks to the organising prowess of Rugby Colin. He is good at this sort of thing, isn't he? And the filming skills of Mr. Munson. Oh, and thank you for lending me your phone to film you when my phone ran out of space. That's how it is, running out of space. I need to manage my images a little bit better on my phone. And it's very embarrassing to run out of space when you're capturing great interviewees like yourself, and plus, of course, great company. Yeah, really lovely lunch yesterday. We're now in Cascais, very posh. At least the car looks at home, even if we don't quite hit the mark. We'll be editing a lot of video from the journey later on. And Coach Turner shared with us yesterday, because Rugby Colin is going to be editing our car reviews. He's going to be lightening that load for me. And Coach Turner, the videos that you've seen that Coach Turner, that Ian's made, have been done on a phone. They've been filmed on a phone, and they've been edited on Apple's iVideo software as well. And very good they are too. The words then of this is what was issued from Salguero Maya, of course. Sorry, I forgot his name temporarily there. Salguero Maya, who's credited with being one of the driving forces of the Carnation Revolution. And this was his famous utterance to the troops, his colleagues in Lisbon. Some of the pro-government military were surrounded and were basically sort of held captive by the rebel forces who were beginning to, when the Carnation Revolution was beginning to take shape, and led by the how would you call it? The guidance, the inspiration of the MFA, the armed forces, or parts of them, because they were split, of course. Salguero Maya was one of the leaders of the rebel force at that time. Gentlemen, as you all know, he said there are three kinds of states: capitalist states, socialist states, and the state we've come to. Interestingly, now in this solemn night, we are going to end this state, so that anyone who wants to come with me, we go to Lisbon and finish it. Oh, forgive me. So he wasn't in Lisbon at that point. He was out of town and headed towards Lisbon to create the pictures that you now see. This is voluntary. Who does not want to leave, stay here. Isn't that brilliant? And you'll see that immortalized in some of the film versions of the events of the leading up to the 24th of April, of course. Thank you very much to all those who've been sending in wonderful images that are all about this, and we will return to them after we've had a chat with Colleen this morning. God Squad tip of the day then, before we chat with Colleen. It has been interesting over the past 10 days or so, monitoring my level of relaxation, or maybe I should say my mental well-being. Life had been a bit hectic before we left home. However, in spite of the amount of driving, some of it a little stressful, I am substantially more relaxed than a few days ago, and consequently happier. Of course, staying in nice hotels help. Not to mention the excellent company, right, Coach Turner? But it has surprised me what a difference it's made. What can we learn from this? And is it all at all important? Perhaps it is just the essence of a holiday break. It must be a holiday mindset, mustn't it? I mean, I think the way the mind works is, if you could convince yourself, and convincingly so, that you are on holiday all the time, I'm sure your physiology would react to that, Coach Turner. But I guess there's no better way than actually going on holiday to show your body it's time to rest. When I was working, Colleen, do you remember holidays? Possibly not. When I was working, it would. I'll explain what they are to you in just a moment, Colleen. When I was working, it would take me 10 days to unwind. But does it need to be a holiday? Continuing with this idea, this theme, I suspect not. Perhaps just a change of pace for a while would work. Yeah, change is as good as a rest, they say. Escaping the daily grind, worth a try. Yeah, thank you for that. And Mabubul Alam was here earlier on. Hey, this is a bit of a clunk. This bit of spam on our screen this morning, Mabubul. Hey, use the right tags, proper description, and SEO for better and more viewers. Now, we wouldn't mind a few more viewers, although, you know, we're more about quality than quantity here. But suggesting that we could have better viewers, how rude. How rude are you? I think you should all be very offended by that. I responded with my we will better viewers. How rude. Oh, okay. He's come back. Sorry, I was just asking for your more view. Anyway, sorry again. No, no hard feelings. Not at all. I knew what you meant, really. Just having a bit of fun with you, as I like to do when people spam me on my show. Right, it's 9 o'clock. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Let's go to Alcobaça now. And welcome Colleen to the screen.
Hi, girl.
Yeah, holidays. Do you remember those?
Yes, maybe. Kind of. It's a holiday every day.
Well, there is that, isn't there? I mean, I guess you live in that vibe, certainly in terms of other people's experience of being here and having a fantastic time in Portugal. You get I guess the spin-off effect of that, don't you? You're in those vibes all the time, which must be wonderful.
Absolutely. I think that one of the things that you still, at least I still have after being here for some years, is I still can be stopped in my tracks just doing the most mundane task and seeing something. And It feels a bit like you're on a holiday because you just have an aha moment of that is so amazing or beautiful or something I've never seen. So it kind of flows with you, especially if you just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you've been doing that in Braga, of course. We've got a couple of lovely pictures. You've been working with clients up in Braga. Before we go there, let's have a look at your dog, whose name, forgive me, I've been struggling with people's name. I know the dogs very well because I love dogs, but I forget their names sometimes. So who is this?
This is Dutch. That is our official scouting dog of Portugal, the place. That's Dutch.
Right. Yes. Well, I've met Dutch, and we've had some nice little cuddles and strokes. And Dutch is pretty famous around Alcobaça, right?
He is. He is. We're the Americans with the big dog. He definitely leads the conversations. So.
Yes. And we found out this morning that carnations are actually edible. The stem that Dutch is holding there is not. But the petals are edible. So I don't know if Dutch left it at that point or did he go in?
We had to rescue them because he did seem to think that the flowers were quite edible. So the after effect of this picture was, no, give us the carnation. Nope, give it back.
Yes, but that would have been some of the most beautiful dog poo ever to be seen on the streets of Alcobaça. Did it not?
I was
very timely. Very timely.
Very timely. I was very surprised that he was so into the carnations, and now I understand that they're edible because he doesn't pay any attention to stuff like that. So
dogs tend to know what you can eat and can't eat, right? Sometimes through bitter experience, but they take that for the team sometimes.
Exactly.
Right, so you've been up in Braga. What is this? Tell us about how this works. And you've been sort of 1-to-1 or sort of 1-to-2 helping people on location.
Well, this happens to be a couple that we've been working with for 6 months. They came and location scouted with us a while ago, back, I believe in December, and kind of landed on Braga. That was the area that they were really drawn to. And so then we scheduled for them to return and work with me and selected real estate agents and lawyers and all the people you need to make a transaction happen. And we found their apartment. And this picture was taken about 1 minute after they were told that their offer was accepted. So
great moment. Congratulations to them and great work from you there. They look pretty happy about it.
Yes, they were thrilled. Braga was very, very active and everything. It was just a beautiful day, unlike whatever's happened to us now. But it was just a wonderful experience for all of us because when it all comes together and options are available, and then they walk in. I mean, they were in the place for less than 60 seconds, and I could tell they wanted. I'm like, shh. Be quiet. Don't say anything yet. Let's just walk through the place. And it just hit their heart and they knew it. And so it's fun. We worked for 3 days with them. And Braga is an amazing city. It's a great option for folks. It has such a great vibe. It's not huge, but you still feel that metropolitan kind of experience with the city. And I think they're going to be really happy.
I think so. Are we allowed to know their names?
Yeah, that's Brad and Billy.
Brad and Billy have a wonderful life in Braga. So, yeah, Brad and Billy's Braga. That sounds like a great name for a movie or a book. Can you tell us a bit more about the city? We were meant to be headed there. It was where we were going to have our next filming session, but things just got so crazy. We've had to postpone that. But we do look forward to going to Braga. It's long awaited, long overdue, a trip up there. I've not been and enjoyed Braga. I think we maybe drove through it on our way to Portugal after coming through Spain long ago. But not enough to really remember or experience it. So tell us, if you will, a little bit more about your experience there and the place.
Well, I've been multiple times. We do have a lot of interest in Braga. It's a very popular city for both rentals and purchases and location scouting. It took me a little bit, to be quite frank, to warm up to Braga. Um,
Interesting.
the problem is the times that I went, I guess the first time I went as a tourist in August back a long while ago, and it was packed and crowded and hot. I mean, sticky, drippy, hot, and just packed with people. And it just didn't hit right. You're kind of tired. You're just like, okay. And we were staying in the Douro, so we were like, we're out. We're going back to our lovely spot in the peaceful, quiet valley. But then I went again and went with more of a perspective of looking differently. And you could really start to see how people just love this city, the walking ability, the views, the architecture, and then the just general quality of life there. And as I brought clients there, and as I've had a chance to work with my local folks and everything, it has come alive to me. And I think the biggest thing about Braga that I love is the fact that it has it's almost like a Parisian vibe. It just has this different, it's a little different feel. It's got it's like Lisbon light. It isn't quite so intense as Lisbon, as far as like the buildings aren't so close together. You don't have the ancient quarter the same as Lisbon. And of course, it's not the capital city, but it has a very metropolitan feel. You feel like it's got that effect, whereas Porto feels very romantic and moody and kind of has that dark vibe, that just comes with the wine and the river. Braga feels cosmopolitan, so it has a really interesting feel. And then the other thing about Braga that I don't like, which you have to be prepared for, and everybody I talk about it has taken me so much time to get used to driving in Braga. Braga is a trip. It has these roads, Carl, where you go on lanes, and then one goes down and under the overpass, and another one goes around to the right, and you have to be in the right lane to go where you want, and they're divided. It's a crazy system. So until you get used to Braga, like the third time I went there, I was like, okay, I got it. I understand now. First couple times you drive there, you're like, what's going on? So yeah, Braga's roads, a little crazy.
Yeah. So if you're in a hurry and trying to make an appointment, and you take the wrong road, I think there are little road systems like that in Porto as well, if I remember rightly. But yeah, I can understand that. And very interesting what you say about how cities and towns can grow on you. When I first went to Caldas de Rainha, I thought, I don't really get this place. I don't understand it. The layout is odd in terms of, I mean, I don't want to sound disrespectful to Caldas and the Caldense of Caldas de Rainha, but when you first get there, it's a classic place. Let me put it another way. It's a classic place of the mysterious maiden revealing herself to you. It's not immediately obvious the charm of Caldas de Rainha. You have to work for it. And there are some cities, aren't there, that are immediately like, look at me. And it's like, yeah, I see you. You're amazing. And there are other cities like, I don't quite understand this. Not too keen on the road system either. But you go a few times and it's like, wow, now I get it. And it takes time, doesn't it?
It's the time of year you go to. Like this time, it's spring, everything is blooming, the green, the gardens, everything was just alive, and you could feel how light and carefree and happy the people were, because it's still not tourist season in the heaviest sense. The restaurants were mellow, you could talk with people. And I know that when you get closer to that, late July, all of August and some of September, everything just is packed. I mean, you can't walk down the pedestrian road. It's a totally different feel. So if you have gone to any city, in my opinion, if you've gone in like peak season and you didn't really get it, but you thought you wanted to, I'd go back in the off season for sure.
That's a good idea. You give it a second chance. I'm so glad I did with Caldas, because I couldn't really get it at first. And I think, the other thing that can put you off a place, I suppose, is if you go and do bureaucracy there and it doesn't go very well. That's right. Your muscle memory of the place. I don't like that place, but there's so much more to any Portuguese city than its bureaucracy. So second chances are definitely worth experiencing, and third and fourth chances, of course. And even the place that I thought I didn't like, which I won't name and shame, but I mean, I took an actual dislike to a place on the outskirts of Lisbon, and even going back there and spending time there, I thought, actually, It's okay. It's not too bad after all. In fact, there are the charming bits I didn't get to see first time, and so beware of that effect here in Portugal. However, I mean, if you do want to cross things off the list, because that's the other part of this, we are sport for choice, aren't we? So maybe it's quite a good idea to say, okay, no, not there, not there, not there, and even then, you've still got 40 or 50 places you want to visit on your list in Portugal.
Well, it was Braga is one of those places too where you really have to think about the weather, because it does get really hot in the summer, and you get that humidity heat, and then it can be very different in the winter. You're going to get more extreme seasons. It was really apparent because I was coming home on Tuesday, and it was gorgeous everywhere in Portugal. I think the whole country was under beautiful, beautiful weather. And it was so hot when I left Braga. And I went to Nazaré when I came back, and I opened the door to get out. I was like, oh gosh, it's so cold. Like the difference from the two places, you see sunshine and temperatures that are similar, but Braga can feel really hot. So I think that's one of the things where, we go at different times a year. If you're looking at a city, Brad and Billy came in December to Braga on purpose because they wanted to see it in the wintertime. And, now we're here in the spring. I think it's important, if you're considering a place to live, to really try and appreciate it at different times of the year.
Yeah, if at all possible, right? And I'm hearing this a lot. And there are, of course, people who come to Portugal, who buy property here, who haven't been even in the country, and it works. But your recommendation, and I'm hearing this, from people, is spend as much time as you can, obviously here, connecting with the vibes, and at different times of year as well.
Absolutely. It also depends on if you've holidayed or if you've been to Portugal multiple times over your lifetime, then you have a better feel. But if you've got your heart set on somewhere, great, land there, go, because you've connected with it and that's your thing. But if you're comparing and contrasting and can't quite settle on what appeals, then you really want to think about it at the darkest, shortest days and what that weather looks like. And then the tourism and the heat in the summer, are those things you want to work with? So, we have this
is making sense. The conversation that we're having here. Braga, Erica K says Braga is cool. Also super close to Barcelos and Guimarães. Guimarães is amazing. Yeah, of course. And it's there is all of the wonderful places in the north of Portugal. Very underrated. And this effect where people haven't quite warmed to a place yet. I haven't quite got to Coimbra yet. I'll give it another go sometime. Please do, Pam, because Coimbra is amazing as well. And I totally get it. You might not have had the right connection first of all, but I'm sure go to Coimbra. Eventually, you will like it. Otherwise, I'll give you your money back. I'm
going to turn on you on that one because I loved Coimbra when I first got here, and Coimbra has downgraded because every incident with a car that I have ever had has happened in Coimbra. Our car. I have been rear-ended, our roundabout, somebody hit the side of a car. Our scouts I got stuck in the parade with the tractors that had all that when they were protesting. No, Coimbra for me keeps going. It was one of my favorite places to go when we first got here. And now I scout there a lot. And now I'm like,
okay, well, I look forward to this list on the Portugal the Place website. Colleen's what's hot, what's not at the moment. Coimbra has dropped.
Coimbra you can't park, and oh my gosh. So I'm trying to be positive and zen and really not let it affect me. But it does, you were saying, Carl, when you have muscle memory. Now my clutch, it's a car thing. It's a car thing.
Because Bob's saying something similar about Braga. Our first parking ticket, by not knowing the street, had to pay the station, paid parking only €8 and paid at Multibanco thanks to Vitor's help. It is nice to visit and 40 minutes away. Isn't it funny? Yeah, the negative experiences are the things that put you off on it.
Well, and the thing is if you don't have the app for the Via Verde, if you don't have the app for the parking, you really should get it because that will save your bacon. In the bigger cities, you can just open the app and pay, as opposed to sometimes you can't find the pay station or you don't see it immediately because it's quite a ways down the street. So that's my secret sauce to stopping all of those tickets is getting the Via Verde parking app and using them.
Very good. And that transcends the city rules, does it? It's for the whole country.
Not necessarily. You have to look around, but most you can tell when you open the app and you look at your car, it will tell you if it's in an area, if you can pay there. Sometimes,
That's
like Nazaré, for example, you can't use it. They have iPark, they have their own version. But the larger cities in general, you can use the Via Verde, and it will. You can also extend your parking so you don't have to hoof it back to your car if you get tied up or something. So that's my little shout out for convenience and making your life a little
That's
easier.
really helpful. Yeah, no, thank you for that. That's really helpful. And of course, the signs, the parking signs can be sometimes difficult to decipher. You
Yes.
can park here between 10 and 4, but not on a Monday or a public holiday or on the holiday of St. Martin. And sometimes it's like, well, hold on a minute. I don't understand. I'm going to move my car because this is so difficult to figure out.
Signs like this long with like all these things, and you're just standing there. Okay, I got a boot on my car in Lisbon because of a sign that was. I got a boot. I was only there for 30 minutes, and they booted it, and I had to pay 180 euros to get my car unbooted.
Ouch.
And it
Ouch.
was because I was in front of the sign instead of behind the sign. So
Yes.
so parking is tricky, and it's all a learning curve. So parking, we're having a how did Braga go to parking?
Coimbra is getting some heat this morning. My clutch went in Coimbra. I got done for speeding in Coimbra. Hate the roads on the underdeveloped riverside. That's changing, Pete. Give that another chance. The riverside's going to be amazing there.
It's going to be beautiful.
It is, yeah. But how can you not like the museum designed for vertically challenged people? Oh, that's the model village. I don't think that's a museum specifically for short people, but it does work for them. It's a children's museum, in fact, Pete. And the university tradition upon graduation is great fun, as is the university. Yeah, the erotic museum in Coimbra as well, which is quite something. Not for the faint-hearted, I should add. Bon dia, Pete from Antonio F. Ready for this weekend's rain and cold, or even snow. So thank you for that weather forecast. T-Duck, we see cars getting booted all the time on our street. Well, there's a nice business opportunity there. you could message them.
And they're so good at taking your money at the moment. I'm really impressed with how Portugal has the ability to keep their little, pay machine. You go and they're ready to go. Because I was like, do I need to go to the ATM? He's like, no, here, just swipe your card. I was like,
ka-ching. Thank you very much. Parking rules in Portugal have nothing on the UK, and the cost, of course, is very different.
That's true. That is very, very, very true. But Braga has one thing with Braga that you have to kind of get used to is you have a lot of parking options. You just finding the parking garages and understanding the flow when you first get there can be a little challenging because they kind of hide it a little bit. But once you're parked, you can walk everywhere in the center in Braga, and people. Right? Oh, it's a great walking city, and people live in the center. It's not a center that's like beautiful to look at, but people don't live there. This is where the folks, Brad and Billy's apartment is like a block and a half off from the Porto Alegre when you come through the main gate to go into the old city, right by the cathedral. So people live there. They shop there. They still go and utilize the area. So it doesn't feel like a movie set to the point where it's just for tourists and no one goes. It's very active with the locals. And I think that's something, if you're looking for a big city with that feel, Braga would be a good choice for you.
So equally then, on that basis, if you were to go by public transport, you could spend, you'd be okay without a hire car. You could get the coach or the bus there and then walk around in the town.
Absolutely. The train station is located in such a convenient place right in the center. And so if you want to fly from, in and out of Porto, for example, you can take the train and you can go right in and you can use the local buses and walking. It's so convenient. So Braga really has that. If you want to live a car-free lifestyle, I think that it's a great choice for folks. And it's big enough to feel like you have options. It has the dining options. It's got all the banking and shopping, everything you need. Plus, it just has a really beautiful layout. The way the streets are laid out when you're walking around in the center, it's just an attractive city. And there's so much of history there. There's so much. I mean, you feel it because of its ancient position in Portuguese history. So it's got a lot to offer for sure.
Well, we wish Brad and Billy the best there in the new home in Braga. Where have you not been yet? Because that's the question I want to ask you. Are there things on your list where you're keen to go but haven't had the opportunity to go to yet in Portugal? Or have you pretty much nailed it now around the country?
I'm trying to think of any place I haven't been yet. Nope, can't come. I
Yeah,
been
good.
as far as Braganza over in the far top
Yeah.
corner, Castelo Branco,
Yeah.
all through the Alentejo. I mean, we have people that want to really experience and see different options in this country, and it's afforded the opportunity for me to see Portugal. And yeah, I don't, other obviously small villages and towns. There's going to be some I haven't been to, but the major areas and the places on the map that you kind of see and expect to go to, I've had the privilege of visiting multiple times. So,
and that's reassuring for the people who you're introducing to Portugal, of course. Have you got a few more minutes with us? Because it'd be nice to read a few more comments.
I'm here with you. And
oh,
Pam is lucky. She parks everywhere and doesn't see a ticket. I think my name is on my car, and they just give me tickets to help me support the community. So
that's very good of you. Very good of you.
It's we have to put it in our monthly budget. We get so many tickets.
Can you not get a season ticket or prepay? Come to a plea bargain with them. Look, I'll just give you, 200 euros a year, but just leave me alone thereafter.
It's what you get for putting your name on the car, I think.
I suppose so. Yes, yeah. Portugal, the place to put parking tickets on. by the sound of it. Let's see what's been going on in the chat here then, because we're getting some lovely feedback about what people were up to yesterday. I'm sure Alcobaça was no exception on the wonderful celebrations. Yeah, Michael Barton, Bon dia GuMPers, happy Friday. Quick hello this morning. Is heading up to Porto this morning. Have a great weekend, everyone. You have a fantastic weekend there. It was lovely to see you. And please see you have no viewers right now. He's getting a little bit rude, isn't he, Mabubul? I think he might have gone now to spam other people. Bon dia from Pam much earlier on. Gemini Bradshaw, and this great news from T-Duck from the Portugal News. We'll have a look at this a bit later. I've got the link. Thank you very much. University of Porto has announced free online course. That's presumably for language there. Yeah, free Portuguese language lessons. That's excellent. Pam, your neighbor, my day was very busy. A few hours work, then ceramic workshop to make a carnation. Would love to see that when it's ready. Then Lumen, then a glass of wine. And that was the big show last night, was it not, in Alcobaça? How was that?
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. Not only is it just, it was poignant. It was very interesting how they could create emotion with these marionettes or puppets. I'm not sure what the proper title is, but the beauty of the light and then the monastery, it was stunning. And I understand, maybe I'm not correct. This might be a rumor. I'm just propagating. I don't know, but I was told that they hadn't been out for 5 years, that this was the first time they brought them back out in a while. So for us, it was our first time of seeing them. So it was pretty interesting to watch the coordination, the parade. They were all lit up and so ethereal, and they even had faces. It was stunning. It was really beautiful.
Are they Alcobaça based then, the company, the Lumen company? Okay, Pam will know the answer to that.
Sure.
Bon dia, Portugal, from João Denot. Good morning to you. Another great thing about Portugal, with all the people we saw on Liberdade, and we'll show some of the footage a little bit later on when we've said goodbye to Colleen this morning. With all the people we saw on Liberdade, we didn't see any fights, no one was drunk or any problems at all. Amazing. It's kind of sad that we say that from the cultures we've come from, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, definitely. It's so safe. Little kids were running around last night. People aren't even, it's just, when you have a crowd of people drinking, my first instinct is it's going to be something you have to be careful. But it's like people were so relaxed and happy. It's one of the best things about living in Portugal.
It really is, isn't it? And I've got a little infographic somewhere. I might be able to find it before you go, which is safety walking alone at night. Yes, we've got this. You might like this if you haven't got it already, Colleen. This is another thing that I'm sure you'll be telling people who are thinking of coming to Portugal. Yes, I've got the infographic meme thing here, and of course Portugal fares very well in this particular. I don't know if it's a survey or how it came about. Well, let me just see if I can bring it onto the screen for you now. Yeah, I've got it. This is how people feel walking alone at night, how safe they feel. This is a 2024, and of course, Portugal does well there. Looks like one of these slightly complicated things. Suffice to say that Portugal does do well in this. 62.
And I think from living here, don't you feel, Carl, like I don't. it's almost like when you go to another country, you have to remind yourself to put back on your awareness or whatever, because you
Your
are so
invisibility cloak.
yes, exactly. Like get back into the mode of protective. France, for example, comes up here as least safe in that infographic. And I understand when I was in Paris, I felt like immediately like I was constantly holding my bag, checking to make sure that it wasn't
Oh, wow.
anywhere someone could get, looking around, changing streets if I felt like the street wasn't necessarily well lit or something. It's
Yeah.
interesting how I've literally never done that in Portugal ever.
Amazing. And yeah, so it's out of 100. So we've got France as low as 35, UK 42, and Portugal 62. People feeling safer than they do, in fact, in neighboring Spain there. So there you go. That's good. More comments have been coming in this morning. People, I think there's a definite atmosphere, isn't there? A post celebratory atmosphere, and it's people are still holidaying, of course, because they're having the Friday as well as the Thursday off. Nunu was in earlier on. Fantastic to see you, Joel Denot. One of my new friends here was in the army on the 25th of April at his post in Porto on that day. How amazing. It was fascinating to hear his observations and experience from the inside. Wow. Sarah, Ian, Amy and Greg, good to see you. Wednesday, another public holiday coming up. Might as well write off next week. Extreme.
It's so true. Because the holidays don't line up with the states, of course, and so you're trying to work with clients, and they're anxious and they're worried about stuff, and you're like, okay, we'll get that done, and it'll probably be back to you by next Friday. And they're like, why? And I'm like, well, this day is off, and this.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the person who also has to look at it is off for 2 days as well.
Yes.
And you're lucky it's not 9 months, basically. So yes, there is that.
And we're rolling into the holiday season, isn't it? It's like Pam just said something that distracted me. The AI image has Spanish flags on it.
Yeah. These were images that were generated for us for about the Carnation Revolution, and the reason why it's got Spanish flags on it is because it's AI. I think we're still safe from this danger of AI at the moment. If you ask it to come up with a Carnation celebration image and it puts a Spanish flag on there, clearly it hasn't beaten the humans yet. Yes. Sorry, Kelly, what were you saying?
No. I don't know. I lost track of my thoughts.
No, fair enough. No, there are so many things going on here this morning. Oh, it was about holiday season, wasn't it, coming up? So
it's just aware of that. The really heavy holiday season. When you kick into June through the summer, I feel like there's a holiday. There's local holidays. There's regional holidays. There's national holidays. Everybody in Portugal is partying. They do festivals for sandwiches and sardines, and if you can come up with a reason to have a break, they're like, let's do it. And it's fantastic and also interesting to navigate when you're trying to figure out what's going on.
And also a missed opportunity for the tourism industry, because you think of party capitals, people go to Goa, Ibiza, and I guess that's a particular kind of partying. But really, the tourism industry and Portugal itself could celebrate the fact that as soon as it warms up until it goes cool again, people are partying, aren't they? Pretty much for a few months.
Yeah, everywhere. I was scouting for a house with a client near a little village that was just outside of Battalion, so just up above from where I am. And it's a sleepy little village, shouldn't have even remotely been a parking issue, nothing. I have the timing. I'm going to go look at the property. And I come around the corner and the whole village, everybody, it's like, I don't know where these people came from. They're all out. There's flags and the little banners. They're partying. There's music. I can't get to the house because I have to walk, can't drive to it. I have to cut through. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, it's the Bafana. We're having a Bafana festival. And I was like,
it is.
Of course you're having a Bafana festival. It's like
Battalion Bafana festival. Yeah.
It's crazy how much they just love, and they were so happy. Everyone was just drinking a beer, eating a sandwich, and relaxing in the sun. Music.
Is it going to go on for long? Yeah, 3 days until 3 o'clock in the morning every day. Yeah. Bon dia from Deagle. Carl and GuMPers from a tiny village in the middle of Ireland. It's nice enough. 8 degrees, should be 12. County Meath, around 100 miles south of Belfast. Have a lovely weekend, Deagle. Lots of love to you. Owen was in. I think we said good morning, Owen, to you. Yes, because you told us that we could eat carnations, which is good. And in a good way. That was not like an insult. Go eat carnations. No, but we can have them on our salad. I'm also having a bit of a lie-in, says Geraldinot. That community walk was 10 kilometers, all quite a brisk pace too. Well, enjoy that. There was a little bit of rain just before we started last night. Oh my goodness, with the big puppets as well. That must have been a bit scary.
Yes.
Bon dia, Pashosh Adoravesh. Thank you very much, Squire. Good morning to you. I like carnation chicken. That's different. That's different. But with a few petals of red carnations might be nice. Gemini, of course. And you'll get ants in your blankets. I don't know what that's about. Oh, maybe if you eat carnations. I don't know. But it's coming up to past, and I'm sure you've got much to do, Colleen, as you normally do, with you and your wonderful team over there in Alcobaças. Do give them my best regards. And thank you for being here. Always great fun chatting with you. And, of course, we are wishing Brad and Billy, wasn't it, who are going to be in Braga living their dream, thanks to your support. Portugal, the place. Oh, very quickly, how's it going with the women's trip to Lisbon and Portugal in December?
It's going great. The women's tour is absolutely, it's getting a lot of response. People are still planning their days for December. December is not that far away. So if you're thinking about it, get your plane tickets.
No, it is. It is a long way away in my mind, Khalid. I cannot compute that right now. I know you're right on one level if you're organizing something, but I cannot possibly have you say that to me.
We have another webinar that we're going to be scheduling, and we have some new speakers that are joining us that I'm so excited about that we're adding to help women kind of prepare. So it's good. All is well. So if people are interested, they can just reach out and we can answer all their questions.
Super. Portugal, the place. Could you give us the exact website address so people can do exactly that?
It's portugaltheplace.com, and there's a tab for the women's tour right on it.
Wonderful. All right. All the best. Have a great weekend. Bon fim de semana. Ciao, ciao. Muito obrigado. There she goes. Colleen. Great fun talking to Colleen as ever, and her encyclopedic knowledge of Portugal. We have more images that have come in. Those images of cats in windows. Now it's like, there's a cat there. Is that a black cat that you can just make out in the shoe shop window? I mean, every shoe shop should have a cat in the window, but not just one. I think another cat. Is this another part of the window? Let's have a look at what's going on here. 2 cats in the window by the sound of it. That sounds like a Crosby, Stills and Nash sort of song, doesn't it? But thank you very much. Brilliantly captured there. And some one of these lovely sort of independent shoe stores. Some very sensible looking sandals as well, in among where the cats, I should say, in the plural, are making themselves comfortable. Talking of public washing facilities as well, thank you, Antonio, for sending images in. That's a very straightforward. I mean, a lot of people might think that's a communal hot tub or a plunge pool on a really hot summer's day. And there it is, a nice local example. Is that local to you, Antonio? One that you know well, perhaps? I know my kids have... Tell me, Antonio, is that really off? When we were first in Portugal and it was really hot, the kids did get in and had a little bit of a paddle and then started throwing green slime at each other. So I'm guessing it wasn't one that was used very often. Is that frowned upon? Should you allow your children to paddle in the local laundry pond or the old school laundromat of the village? Thank you very much for those. Desperately making more room in the picture deck for other pictures that I want to include this morning. And I did promise you a little bit of video that's left over from the celebrations from yesterday. And we've got Veronica's celebrations in VRSA as well that we'll close out with this morning on this Feel Good Friday. Mabubul, are you still here? My clutch went in, Coimbra. I'm really sorry to hear that. Let's play a little bit of video for you from yesterday then. Thank you to Sarah, to Amy, to everybody who's been sending in fabulous coverage of Carnation Revolution celebrations. A few mini clips here, and then we'll have a look at Aveiro, what was going on in 1974 in Aveiro. First, we'll start with where John was talking about his brisk 10K walk. Great day for green, red, and don't forget the yellow balloons as well, of course, yesterday. A little bit more from the capital now. Thank you, John, for that. lovely buzz. And this. Ooh, that's very rousing, isn't it? And a little bit more. Superb. Thank you so much to Amy and to Sarah. And more to come from those two people celebrating the Carnation Revolution all over Portugal. Let's go back in time now. What did it look like in 1974 in Portugal? Well, in Aveiro, it looked like this.
Quis saber quem sou, o que faço aqui, quem me abandonou, de quem me esqueci. Perguntei por mim, quis saber de nós, mas o mar não me traz tua voz. Em silêncio, amor, em tristeza e fim, eu te sinto em flor, eu te sofro em mim, eu te lembro assim, partir é morrer, como amar é ganhar e perder. Tu vieste em flor, eu te desfolhei.
Isn't that amazing? They're driving the same cars in Castelo Branco now, and they even have the same hats. When I was in Tamar, the tourist information place had films running from 74. Tamar looked the same. Yes, it's very reassuring in a way, isn't it? And barely awake. Good morning to you, Nubianet. Thank you for being here. Let's look at a few more stills, still images on 913-590-303. There's Starbuck, who's joined the AD Alliance, I think. They're fantastic. How lovely. Did Starbuck have a nice time yesterday? And more pictures from the marches. Starbuck again. Hey, Greg, this is lovely. Peace. I want peace. How about that? Yeah, wonderful images from the capital, Marcos de Pombal, looking down on the celebrations there, of course. Wonderful. Dia 25 de Abril, luto, mas não esqueço 8 meses. No tem carinha. Please, somebody tell me what that means. There we go. I think the people have taken over the roundabout with that same spirit of 74 there. Fascismo, nunca mais, no more fascism. And more wonderful images. Thank you very much, Amy, Greg, and Sarah, for these. A bit of a mixture. Sorry, I can't credit you exactly. But look, a young lady with a red carnation stuck into her belt there. And a couple of events then for the weekend from Andy. It was Andy who sent us the old footage from Aveiro. Of course, he's up that way. And loads going on at this busy festival in the bustling Lamade. Not bubbly lemonade, just outside the well-appointed town of Cantanhede. Bands, horse processions, go-kart racing. That's the Festa in Lamade, the party season that Colleen and I were talking about. And, of course, a party, Do Picado, Aveiro, another one in Aveiro there. A midday ride, that's for bikers up there. Just a couple from Bairrandi this weekend. However, on this note of overlooking things and not remembering to play things, Andy sent this in a couple of days ago. I believe this is Luis Pato has been no, he can't be harvesting yet, has been planting a few more new vines, I think. So expect this in a bottle near you at your favorite wine merchant soon. Oh, that was a lovely, peaceful moment. Thank you very much for that, bike, Andy. That's the Luís Pato Vineyard. Thoroughly recommend that if you like to tour Portugal and take a look at, taste wine and take a look at where it's grown. The Luís Pato experience is very good, and he's the rebel winemaker here in this country. From wine to beer, only had to mention beer and sending pictures in on 913-590-303. He's not that much of a beer drinker, but a lot of pictures of him do have him having a sip of a Super Bock or a Sagrush, and there's another one, I think, in early. So thank you, James, for those this morning. And this came in from Owen. Deep thought of the day as we unwind and get ready for even more, partying if that's your thing, or just having a relaxing weekend. Wishing you a bon fin de semana. In this last 20 minutes of the show today, let us know what you're up to. Let us know how you got on yesterday. Did you enjoy yourself in Portugal? Deep thought of today then. Ooh, when you clean out a vacuum cleaner, you become a vacuum cleaner. There's some unity consciousness right there. Or is that the point of singularity that physicists talk about? Thank you very much for that, Owen. Any more images you want to send to me this morning? I'm making room as we speak. 913-590-303. A couple of lovely images in from VRSA. We'll finish today with imagery from VRSA. That'll be Veronica's movie that she made, her brief movie about the Carnation Revolution, the backstory, explaining to people abroad, I think, her constituency, if you like, the significance of the event. So we'll finish with that today. Veronica, of course, you'll see her understanding the secret of Tamar in my latest Portugal resident piece. Her Chinese Terrier and the Great Garvo, the Templar Knights from Birmingham. Yes, it's complicated, but if you go read my latest Portugal resident article, you'll be able to find out exactly what was going on there. And the moment of realization when they grasped, well, thankfully didn't quite actually grasp the Tamar secret, because that could have been awkward. Here at VRSA then, lovely big red carnations then, and a beautiful image. I think this will be the one. This is definitely going to be in the collection of images from the week. This is absolutely beautiful. I think Anna's favorite that she captured yesterday. Look, the little lad walking along the street there with a red carnation. That is priceless. Absolutely beautiful. And as you say there, Anna, my favorite pick from yesterday, absolutely one of my favorites from the ones I've seen in the last 48 hours. And that is Veronica right there, isn't it, in the foreground in VRSA. So we'll hear more from her in just a little while. What's going on in the comments? How are you planning to spend your weekend? A bon fin de semana. Todos from Peter. Bon fin de semana from Aviva. Well done. Good Portuguese, everyone. Good to see you, Aviva. Thank you for being here. Allah from James to you. I'm going to make sure I haven't missed anything or had any more spam this morning from our friend who wants us to who wants me to pay him for a little bit of SEO help. See, you have no viewers right now. Oh, my booble, honestly, you don't understand what we do here. I don't think. Okay, Amy, yeah, it is lovely, isn't it, that people can celebrate and have a good time without getting silly, generally speaking, here in Portugal. Yes, and thank you for that reminder, Pam. Wednesday is a public holiday too. Might as well write off next week. Well, go on then, why not? Thank you for the information about carnations. And from you, Liz, in Paris. I think Liz F is in Paris. And yeah, that rain is coming in by the sound of it. Rain spotted in Alcobaça last night. I saw some lads playing cricket yesterday. That's not something you see often in Portugal. I think you're going to see more and more cricket being played in Portugal. Read that picture. Oh, I see. You get ants in your blankets if you dry them on the riverside. I'm with you now, Pam. Read that picture. The villages, in the villages that didn't have a very close creek or river, there would be a community tank for villagers to wash their clothes. And thank you for those images that you sent to us, Antonio. Yep, got those. Fantastic. Eric K, a fan, of course, of Braga. We had our conversation with Colleen about Braga and wishing Brad and Billy a happy life there. And then, yes, the reasons why people don't like this place or that place. It is not unheard of for us to stop the car and have a chat in the main road in our village for an hour or so, let alone parking. Yeah. And that was me creating that emotion that Colleen talked about. Thanks, Pam. Great job. And presumably, I didn't play the Instagram clip that you sent me because I had bad luck playing an Instagram clip last week, if you remember. But if you've got some video of Lumen, I'd love to share that at some point on the screen. They have not done this in Alcobaça since 2017, but they have done it all over Spain and Portugal to answer Colleen's comments there about whether Lumen have been performing in Portugal. No snow in the Algarve. Do you remember that April Fool we did, Paul, back in the day when we were talking about a ski slope being built in the Algarve? Some people, I think, believe that. Next thing up is my favorite, the 19th century market in May in Alcobaça. Thanks for the heads up on that. I love Bifana festivals. Well, Colleen told you all about one. Good luck finding that. She didn't give us the name of the village there. Jackie, good morning to you. I don't know if I said good morning to you. Morning to you. You were in very early this morning. How are you doing? Having a smoke, having a cup of tea and listening to the Good Morning Portugal show this morning. There's a pet grooming place here that always has cute cats sleeping in the window, says Pam. Yeah, the vet where I took Jimmy to have his weight loss done recently. Yes, his castration. He's recovering well, in case anyone's interested. Doing well. There are cats in the reception there of the vets. They're really nice cats. A bit gnarly. I think they've been saved from the street, but some real character cats in my local vet. I'm sure they're employed to do that. Gary is getting her CV ready. That's your cat, Gary, right? And I love Bifana festivals. Go figure. But Bifana's like, yes. Looks a bit like the Monday market in Espinho, all the people in Lisboa. Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely amazing. I've been held up in traffic driving through Espinho. That's my, talking of how you have muscle memories of places. My memory of Espinho is getting held up on the way back down from the north of Portugal. So I've missed out on all the charm that you've enjoyed there, James. And that's my memory of it. It's being a massive traffic jam trying to drive through the market traffic. I think it's been a Sunday possibly, but it's a massive market there, isn't it, in Espinho? And thank you for your comments, Pete and Pam. Continuing talking about the old days in Castelo Branco and Tamar. Couldn't take any videos. Oh well. Colleen posted. Okay, great. Well, we'll come back to that in due course. And tu também, meu amigo Gordo Tony. Is he happy with that nickname? My vets have some of the friendliest cats in the world. I think they know where their bread's buttered, right? Which reminds me of something about buttering cats' paws. Is that right? So they don't go far away from home? Might have to do that with our cats. We've got one on the missing list at the moment, sadly. But it could turn up at any moment, we're told. Even Colin was telling us this yesterday. It could be weeks or even months before that rascal turns up again. But the kids are a little bit upset about Sebastian going missing. Should have put butter on his paws. I doubt that actually works. Right, what else have we got for you that's been sent in on 913-590-303? I know I've got the words to share with you from the president yesterday, which I thought were very appropriate and thought-provoking. I think we're up to date with everything so far that's been sent in. If you want to send any more, yes, 913-590-303. Thank you for that. I'm not sure. I think that's probably for me and not for general consumption. Thank you very much for that, T-Duck. Absolutely true and spot on. Just check in again over on the WhatsApp mailbag. Okay, we're up to date, I think, unless you think I'm not and you need to prompt me about something you've sent to me, 913-590-303. Let's go to, we've got that link to share about the free Portuguese lessons in Porto, teaching people how to say Porto properly. And that was a fairly good attempt, I think, there. But let's have a look at the Portugal resident then. And Natasha Don's reporting of the president speaking about the significance of the Carnation Revolution yesterday. And I won't read the whole thing, but there's just part of it that I think is worth sharing with you. And that will be, we had him talking, and this part of his speech here, as reported in the Portugal resident from the Lusa news agency. In his speech at the traditional solemn session in Parliament, which lasted almost half an hour, Marcelo mentioned Ramalho Enche, Mario Soares, Francisco Sacaneiro, Alvaro Cunhal, Freitas do Amaral, and Cavaco Silva, among others, as he spoke about the background to the Carnation Revolution and the stabilization of the democratic regime. Each name evoked distinct applause, writes Lusa, sometimes from the right, sometimes from the left, in the Sala de Sessões, where former heads of state Antonio Ramalho Enche and Eanes and Anibal Cavaco Silva were present in one of the galleries. Many, many others, he said, have, like them, have fought and often won, and others fought and lost a little or a lot, and some became disillusioned on April 25th, others on September 28th, others on March the 11th. These are other key dates in the history of Portugal, of course, others in the hot summer, others in the crucial November 25th, which ended up defining the outcome of the revolution. And still, Others over the last 50 years, said the president, insisting that November the 25th, 75, just like the Constituent Assembly and the Constitution, was always intended to be a part of the April celebrations, which will only end in 2026. This is how history is made and remade, often more from the lows than the highs, he added. The president then asked, and do these ups and downs compare with any other political, military, or social movement in our contemporary history, in the history of our older European partners or our more recent European partners? No, he says, there's no comparison. April 25th meant at the same time the end of a 5-century empire, the end of a 5-decade dictatorship, economic and political integration in what is now the European Union, and 4 changes of economic regime. According to Marcelo, no other revolution or military coup has been comparable in contemporary history, because no other modern European empire has faced all these challenges at the same time in less than 30 or 40 years. None of our Eastern partners have had extra European empires or experienced decolonization, democratization, European integration, and 4 changes of economic regime like we have. It's remarkable, isn't it? And that's why it's unfair to compare the incomparable, he argued. Speeches by the various party leaders were predictable in that the far left and the further right. Oh, is that a new classification? Further right rather than far right made a point of criticizing Portugal's head of state for what they believe he should have said, should not have said, while PS socialists represented by the party's parliamentary leader Alexandra Leitão were more measured, agreeing with Marcelo's conclusion that politicians need the humility, the intelligence to always prefer democracy, even when it is imperfect, over dictatorship. And that's the last line there, I think worthy of sharing with you. Always prefer democracy, even when it is imperfect, over dictatorship. And who knows what the next 50 years will bring. And part of my musings about this are how, on the one hand, we've been reviewing cars, some of the most extraordinary technologically advanced cars in the last day or two. Talking about cars, of course, with Colin on the show yesterday. Cars have come on a long way, have they not? And the efficiency of the internal combustion engine. Politics, on the other hand, seems to be quite a sort of brutal tool of literally of government. And we have so much technology available to us that you would think could, decision-making processes based on AI, people wanting to help other people, incredible technology that could help representing and sharing the views, petitioning people, showing what people think from moment to moment even. And still, the democratic processes involve old wooden boxes and pieces of paper and blunt pencils. It's fascinating, isn't it, that really that the political processes and even political ideologies are so old-fashioned and brutal in many ways, and in terrible situations, creating terrible situations in part of the world. We're lucky here, aren't we, as I think these celebrations have shown us. But we really we're not evolving that well in political terms, it would appear. And maybe that's just human nature. Maybe that how that gets written off. Well, politicians are always going to be politicians, etc., etc. Politics, don't discuss politics and religion. Maybe it was ever thus and will remain so even 50 years from now. But it surprises me. I think how we've got a lot of technology which could help people to live more peacefully and feel better represented, and still we have these very sort of brutal and polarizing situations and systems that don't seem to help especially well. Okay, James Campbell is here. Kravosh, have you got any carnations? Well, I haven't actually. I think a chip works better than butter. It does. I guess if they roam, you. All right, old school version. Talking of technological advances, rubbing butter on their paws maybe stopped cats roaming too far from home back in the day. And if they do now, they are chipped and they can be found and returned to their owner. Yes. So tell us more, Antonio, if you will. November 25th, 1975 is another important date in Portuguese history, but controversial, especially among the left. And I think when the Doc made his debut at the Portugal Club, attempting to create a bit more balance. I think that's what he was accusing me of. Oh, wow, these are great. I think we're talking about the generated AI images. Okay, I'll show those to you, and we'll play Veronica's coverage as well. So we'll have a look at those that people are admiring over at the Portugal Club in just a moment. Oh, and the free Portuguese language lessons. Yeah, the doc was suggesting that Chega, for example, want to honor November the 25th more than they do April the 25th. Interesting that we've got an April 24th, I beg your pardon, and November 25th dates there. The emphasis on April 25th, although many in the know would like a little bit more emphasis on November 25th. And perhaps come November 25th of this year, we will look at that. The UK Parliament voting system involves walking through a particular door. Yes. And I sent another photo. Cheers, Pam and James. And having a person slam a door in your face. There's the, I think you're talking about the UK political system. That's a way of saying, I'm not voting for you, perhaps. There. Thanks, Pam. What have we got from you? My view of last night. That is fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Pam. We'll see the view from inside a puppet in just a moment from Pam. And just a couple of things to finish off with then, as we wish you a bon fin semana. So did the Reichstag of 1933. Hitler just posted SS goons on one exit. Oh, how the orange one wishes he'd done the same. All right, easy now, Peter. And a car to carry a crown. Yes, there is that too, isn't there? Incredible. That's what I'm talking about. Tradition is all well and good, but we might want to assess, reevaluate, and review its appropriateness. Does anyone know if the march down Avenida de Liberdade, we waited until 4:30 and then went home to take care of husband Steve with a broken femur? Oh, sorry to hear that. Did the march go down Avenida de Liberdade then? Asked Sarah. Somebody might be able to answer that. Or we'll pick that up on Monday and we'll see if we can answer that for you. And love to Steve. That's horrible to hear. He's got a broken femur. Lots of love and healing vibes. If you could pass them on from the GuMPers, please, Sarah. Okay. Free Portuguese language lessons. University of Porto has announced a free online course. Do you know what? I'm going to give you the link directly to that. And that is edX up there in Porto. Anyone looking for an 8-week, 3 to 5 hours per week. Oh, Maria, Vitor's wife, is her places are filling up fast, I believe, on her bootcamp course. If you're interested in, I'm going to go on that, I think. If you want to join me with Maria and probably Vitor from time to time, let me know. Send me a DM. But if you're interested in a course in Porto, starts May the 6th. And it's 3 to 5 hours a week for 8 weeks. It's instructor paced and it's absolutely free. I'm going to put that into the chat for you now, and you can link directly to that. Thanks for T-Duck. That's wonderful. And yeah, we've got Veronica to come. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, we've got Pamela's view from inside the puppet. Let me see if I can bring that onto the screen, and then we'll just go over to Veronica as we wish you a happy weekend, a bon fin semana. Here you go. This is what it looks like from inside a puppet. And that's what Pam was seeing last night. And the rain clouds as well. I guess that must have been a slightly awkward, anticipatory and anxiety-provoking moment where you thought you might be absolutely peed on by rain clouds over there. So thank you for that, Pam. And yeah, we will get a video, I think, a good video of Lumen in action in Alcobaça from last night. Right? Forgive me then if I forget anything. Oh, I do know what else I was going to show you before we go over to Veronica, and that is those images that Kai generated for us. Here they are, looking a little bit CCP, I think, here. We've got, if I step through them, there are 10 such images, and I'm going to click on the right link to show you now. Yeah, here we go. These are being enjoyed. And oh, okay, so the Spanish flag that Pam was talking about. Yeah, quite interesting. These somewhat on the threatening side, some of them as well, looking like sort of communist propaganda too, aren't they? From ancient times, not ancient times, but from previous times in history. Look at that. That's the women's one right there. Kai generated these for us, and you can see them at the Portugal Club. In fact, let me just cut and paste that link for you as well. And these are what the doc wanted to see. Not unsurprisingly, I'm sure you'll agree. That's a nice one, isn't it? There, I'm not sure what that person's holding up in the background there. But anyway, and there's a nice one. Fireworks, very jolly. And there's that's a rather somber looking one, isn't it? Not an entirely positive vision of the future, but we know what they're getting at. And there's the link to them for you. Yes, looks like Cuba-esque, yes, or sort of a Leninist type propaganda pictures, some of them. English Wikipedia sucks for Portugal history and culture, sadly. Well, we've done a great job, I think, as a team effort. We've curated some amazing materials. If you follow that thread, James, if you sign up with the Portugal Club, you'll see some amazing information and materials that have come together thanks to the GuMPers over there. Right, let us go out with Veronica's video. I'm wishing you a very happy weekend. I'm glad you've had a good week and a great Carnation Revolution celebration by the sound of it. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday for a little bit of mindful migration. And we'll say goodbye to you. We'll say te logo, até breve, até próxima, te já, and adios. And we will send you on your way with Veronica here, who, as I said, is featured in my Portugal resident piece of the week as well. Seeing that marvelous moment in Tamar when the Tamarian Templar secret was revealed to her in the company of the great Garvo and Chinese Terry there. Right, this video is taking a little while to load up. It'll be with you in just a moment. Maybe it's having a Portuguese public holiday. Ciao bellas from Bairandi. Thank you, Bairandi, from your contributions this morning. And bon fin semana from Antonio F. I think that video should be ready now. Yes, it is. I'll beg your indulgence for another 5 minutes, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care, and bye for now. Give yourselves a nice pat on the back. You've done very, very well.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Carnation Revolution Day, April 25th, 2024, in Portugal. It's the day they celebrate their independence from the Salazar regime. A lot of activities going on in every town. Make sure to pop up for one of yours, or I'll show you videos of what's going on here today. Cheers, my friends, and I'll see you in Portugal. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the Revolução dos Cravos, the Carnation Revolution in Portugal. It's a truly monumental event that ended nearly 5 decades of authoritarian rule of the Salazar regime. It ushered in democracy to this wonderful country that I now call home. One of the most powerful symbols was the release of doves into the Lisbon sky as crowds gathered, their white wings spreading a message of peace, freedom, and a new democratic era. For those who had spent decades oppressed, watching the doves soar represented Portugal's own ability to rise above its challenges. Another enduring image from the revolution are the red carnations that protesters placed into the gun barrels of the soldiers, a symbolic gesture that gave this event its famous name. It represented the Portuguese people's desire for change without violence or bloodshed. So look closely for these symbols, the red carnation, and also the releasing of doves and birds in your own town. But again, here's some clips from my town. Also around my town today, after the more formal celebrations, was a race for the kids. It was so fun to see them run up and down and around town and see everybody cheer them on. There was music, there were artists, and here's a special artist that was hired by the city to paint during the event. This is one of our local artists from Villarreal de Santo Antonio painting for us. Gonzalo.
You can say it in Spanish. Spanish is cooler. Gonzalo.
Yeah. And he's on Instagram as well. So you can find him on Instagram. He's got lots of arts and painting.
That's it.
Beautiful. And you chose a child.
Yeah.
Beautiful. For over 4 decades, the Portuguese people had lived under this oppressive dictatorship with censorship, lack of free elections, and limited civil liberties. But on this historic day, a military operation led by the Armed Forces Movement brought about a regime change through peaceful citizen protests. As an American expat who moved to Portugal 7 years ago, I'm constantly in awe of the rich history and resilient spirit of the Portuguese people. To commemorate this historic milestone's true power lies in the courage of the Portuguese citizens who fought tirelessly for their freedom and democratic rights we all enjoy today. On this 50th anniversary, I feel incredibly grateful to the lovely people of Portugal for allowing us expats to be part of their celebration and their nation's identity. Communities across the country are hosting events to mark this occasion, and I encourage my fellow expats to participate alongside the locals. However, it's important to note that while the Carnation Revolution freed Portugal from its authoritarian past, it wasn't until a year later that the country was fully released from the communist regime influences that had taken root after the coup. So while April 25th, 1974 marked Portugal's overthrow of dictatorship, 1975 represented the institutional establishment of democracy through free elections, a key milestone in consolidating the revolution's objectives. Let's celebrate the Carnation Revolution together, expats and Portuguese alike, united in our commitment to democratic values that make this country so special today. Cheers, my friends, and thank you for coming along with your American in Portugal. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I do have a MailChimp list in case you'd like to be notified of my newsletters. Thanks, and cheers from your American in Portugal.